Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the assault rifles, in specific the free firing ones. So we're going to be avoiding the FAL, the Odin, the FAMAS, those kind of weapons. We're going to look at the AK, the Grau, the M4, the Ram 7, the Kilo, the Scar, and the M13. I'm going to be telling you guys what I think is the best class setup for each one of those weapons. And then we're going to be taking those best class setups, those 5 attachments, what I think is best for each weapon. And we're going to be comparing them head to head in a bunch of different categories, basically ranking them from a good to bad scale. After doing all my data and researching this, they're either good or they're either bad. There's no in between on maybe a couple of weapons there is, but they either are good in a couple of the categories or they just suck compared to the other assault rifles. So we're going to take a look at the range, the mobility, the accuracy, and then the most important, the overall time to kill at every single range and up to what meters compared to all the assault rifles. So like I said, this in specific is taking those 5 attachments, which is obviously going to make the gun better and worse in some situations. I'll be telling you guys the actual numbers, and like I said, the range, accuracy, mobility, in my opinion, are the biggest 3 things that affect on what makes a gun good or bad. You take a gun like the Grau, for example, excellent accuracy, excellent mobility. Obviously, everybody loves the gun. So, like I said, we're talking about the best class setups for each weapon. And starting it off, we're talking about the AK-47. I'll showcase all the class setups on screen, along with what the class setup does to the gun. So, where the AK-47 is the RPK long barrel, the commando foregrip, the monolithic suppressor, the rubberized grip, and the 40 extended ammo. The Grau, obviously you guys know, Nexus barrel, commando foregrip, monolithic suppressor, 50 round mag, and the no stock attachment. The M4A1, we're running the custom Corvus marksman barrel with the commando foregrip, with the monolithic suppressor, with the tac laser, and the 50 round mag. Ram 7, we're going to be running the Ranger foregrip, the Ranger long barrel, the 50 round mag, the monolithic suppressor, the tac laser. On the Kilo, we're going to be running the longest long barrel, which is the Prowler barrel, the 50 round mag, the commando foregrip, the monolithic suppressor, and the tac laser. The Scar, we're going to be running the long barrel, 25 round mag, the rubberized grip, the monolithic suppressor, and the commando foregrip. M13, we're going to put in the long barrel on there, the monolithic suppressor again, 50 round mag, commando, and this time no stock. So the thing you'll notice on every single gun here, we do run pretty much the commando foregrip on every single gun besides the Ram 7. And along with a couple of them, you'll notice I use the rubberized grip tape stack with that. And then all the bunch of the other ones, you notice they all have tac lasers. Those are all, my opinion and my testing, the best attachments that make these guns the best. So as you guys can see, along with those class setups, the overall negative the class setup gives them, just like the Grau and the M13, you guys both notice, I put no stock on there. It helps the gun out a lot as far as mobility and the aim down sight time, which definitely 100% makes it a better weapon. But the thing I noticed most, talking about most importantly here, is the mobility category, because this is basically what separates all the guns the most. Obviously, you guys know the Grau has the best mobility, 95% movement speed, which is average for ARs, with a 267 millisecond aim down sight time, which is once again average for ARs. Still pretty fast for a gun in the game. The M13 had a 93% movement speed, which is slow for ARs, but still pretty fast compared to all the other ones. 300 millisecond aim down sight time. The M4A1 was 89% movement speed with a 267 aim down sight time, which is pretty fast. Obviously tied fastest with the Grau, which is why I picked the tac laser for it. The Ram 7 is another good category. 90% movement speed, 300 millisecond aim down sight time. So 300 milliseconds is only about 20% slower than average, which is still a pretty good aim down sight time. Obviously, you take that aim down sight time compared to all the other players you're playing against, they have the same, if not similar, aim down sight time, so it's pretty average. The difference in the mobility is going to the bad category. The Kilo, the AK, and the Scar are horrible in mobility. Aim down sight time for the Scar and the AK is both 400 milliseconds, which is a little bit slower than the LMGs. And the mobility of the Kilo is 87% movement speed, which is obviously, like I said, about 3% slower than the rest, which is low LMG movement speed, which is pretty bad. It does only have a 300 millisecond aim down sight time. So obviously, like I said, Grau, M13, M4, Ram, really good. Kilo, AK-47, Scar, not that good in mobility. So talking about the overall accuracy, I'll showcase both pictures on the screen. You guys can see the recoil pattern of the Kilo, the Grau, the Scar, M13, M4, Ram, and AK-47. The Kilo has the least amount of recoil. The thing I noticed in specific when shooting this weapon, it was capped. Like after shooting 20 bullets, the vertical recoil just stopped. It didn't go up at all. Like I said, that has the least amount of recoil out of every gun. I found it the easiest to use. If you're shooting someone in the chest and it kicks and it caps at a certain point, all your shots will be chest shots pretty much. Obviously, you guys know the Grau, excellent in accuracy. It's only vertical. With the commando foregrip stacked, makes it pretty much in a straight line. You guys can see the Scar. Like I said, the reason I use the Commando, you guys can see a lot of these accuracies. The ones that are good, the bullets are all on a perfectly straight line, meaning there's no randomness to you missing your shots. Scar is excellent. M13 actually has a very low recoil pattern as well. I put that as the last one in the good category. We have the AK, the RAM, and the M4 I have as bad. Obviously, like I said, that Commando foregrip helps with the stabilization, so there's not as much variance. The M4 definitely has a lot of variance and drags hard at the right. The Ram 7 drags really hard to the left and early on, which is why I have it ranked really bad. And the AK, the first couple of shots are pretty hard to hit. After that, the vertical pattern is pretty easy to decide. But if your first 3 shots are really hard to hit, it's going to be very hard to get those kills. And then talking about the base range of these weapons. So with the long barrel on there, obviously you guys know the Kilo gets the 55% increase to the overall range. It has the best long barrel in the game, which is a massive increase. So as far as the range, the M13 has the best base range, which is all the way up to 55 meters, which is, like I said, the best base range where the first damage drop-off begins, which is definitely going to help make it an excellent weapon. The Kilo is up to 50 meters, which is very far, and then the second damage drop is 85 meters, which is in the long distance range. You're going to get the best improvement on the Kilo as far as the base ranges. Obviously, you guys know Grau definitely takes third, 45 and 90 meter base ranges, which is excellent. The Scar is actually one of the guns that surprised me as being a good weapon for range. The base damage drop is just a little bit less than M13, but only at 50 meters. And then in the bad category, we have the RAM, the M4, and the AK. The AK is the worst. Base range is only 40 meters, which is pretty much terrible when you compare to the M13 and the Scar, because it only has 1 damage drop-off. The RAM and M4 is 40 meters, which is tied for the lowest base range, and then only 70 meters. So you compare it to the Kilo and the Grau. Obviously, they're going to completely outclass it as far as that second damage drop-off in range. M13 taking number 1 was a huge surprise to me here because it was once again excellent in the mobility category and excellent in the accuracy category. So the last and final thing, most important to take a look at here, is going to be the overall time to kill of each weapon and up to what range. You guys can see the screenshot here. I'll also leave it down in the description below as a screenshot if you guys want to look at it a little bit more in depth yourself. You guys can see the Ram 7 has the fastest time to kill up to that base range of the 42 meters. But once again, and that's where it drops off and where the range slacks. The biggest thing you guys will take a note on here is the time to kill of the Kilo and up to that 50 meter range, which I said is where it completely excels, is where it's going to beat out the M4, it's going to beat out the RAM, it's going to beat out the Grau, it's going to beat out every single gun in the game because the range is so excellent. So when you take it from that 42 meter range all the way up to the 50 meters, it's going to have the fastest time to kill out of air rifle, which was very surprising to me. Like I said, once again, with that base damage going all the way up to 85 meters, your overall time to kill from that 72 meter range all the way up to 85, which is where the M4 and the RAM drop off, is where it once again is the fastest killing weapon. So that's definitely probably the most underrated thing about it, is the overall time to kill stacked with that range. The thing to note here that I noticed the most with the Scar, the AK, and the M13 is it only has 1 damage drop off area, meaning these guns are excellent at long range. As far as that competent, or how they compete well against the Graus, the Kilos, the M4 in that medium to close range, I don't think they do, just because they lack in a lot of the things that these guns are good at. And the thing I found most best about the Scar when I was actually playing with it was at that long distance. You guys can see it has a 700 millisecond time to kill, and like I said, it's very good at an accuracy category. So it's the fastest time to kill above 90 meters, which is what makes the gun excellent. I'll be uploading a class setup on it very soon, but basically breaking it down and ranking all these guns, like I said, in good to bad, the Kilo 100% surprised me here after doing my research on it. It's the most accurate weapon with the least amount of recoil, and it's the number 1 in range, which is the reason people pick the Grau, because it has excellent range and has excellent accuracy. If you take a look at the Kilo, it's right there tied along with this weapon in the accuracy and the range category. Obviously, you guys know the Grau is the most mobility, excellent accuracy, excellent in range. The M13 once again did take a surprise to me. Excellent in mobility, which I put the no stock attachment on there, which usually makes the recoil pattern worse, but it was very good in accuracy even with no stock, and being number 1 in range. That 55 meter base range is excellent, number 1 out of all the assault rifles. And the last gun that I think is pretty good, definitely obviously worth using, is the M4. Has the fastest aim down sight time, and it has a faster time to kill at every single range than the Grau and the Kilo, which are obviously on this category. Lacks a little bit in the accuracy and the range category, but the fastest aim down sight time and having a faster time to kill, a faster fire rate is what's going to make it a very good gun. And then obviously in the bad category, I have the AK. It does have the lowest range, the lowest mobility, and it's the least accurate. Those three negatives obviously are going to be from that mid to long range, which you want to be using the weapon there. It's only good up close. Like I said, it's just a bad weapon. I do not recommend it in Warzone. The SCAR is the lowest in mobility as well, the slowest aim down sight time. It does have a good time to kill if you can hit your shots, but you only have 25 or 30 rounds, even 20 in your mag, so I don't recommend it. The accuracy, like I said, is the best thing about it. Then the RAM is the next gun. It has a very slow aim down sight time, which is what, in my opinion, makes it not that good. The accuracy dragging very hard to the left is going to make it pretty hard when you're trying to track players to actually hit your shots at mid to long range, and it just lacks in the overall mobility category. The movement speed is pretty low. The aim down sight is pretty low. The class setup I made with the tack lasers on there was to get the aim down sight time up. So if you try to use a different attachment, your aim down sight time is just going to go down on it. And this class setup, with having no stock available on this gun, is what's going to just slack it the most. So I definitely think the Kilo was the most underrated. The M13 definitely takes a close second. It is very underrated. And the Grau and the M4 are obviously the two most popular weapons to use. But definitely recommend you guys trying out the Kilo and the M13. When you compare them head to head with all the other rifles, they are excellent. So hopefully this video is informative. Hopefully it does help you guys learn something new. Try out a different weapon. Like I said, the SCAR is a video I'm going to be posting very soon. So if you guys want to leave a comment down below, you guys have any videos you want me to go in depth on and make a video review, a in-depth video for you guys, leave that in the comment section below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Use code Trapgod on all of your scuff and GFUEL purchases. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.